What up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's your guy. Hit the keys. Here today to do a quick review and demonstration over the OBSBOT or OBSBOT Tiny 2 Lite PTZ webcam. So this webcam is pretty fire. I know I've been talking to you guys lately about how I've kind of wanted to expand into some other things with technology. So maybe help out streamers or people who are just getting into making content so that they can get cameras and stuff at a very affordable cost. Well, this Tiny 2 Lite actually only cost $150, and I don't know if you guys can tell right now. It's the camera that I'm shooting in, so it does look a little bit different than my Sony ZV or my Sony 6400. But this camera does shoot in 4K up to 30 frames per second, and obviously it's going to look pretty good. You can record right into your computer. So you can use this if it's something that you wanted to use for like content creation instead of just streaming, or it's very good to use like with multiple angles. So this camera does a lot of cool things. It does all the gesture stuff that a lot of people, they like. So if I hold up the L sign, you're gonna notice that it's gonna zoom in, boom. So it's zooming in on my ugly mug. But if I hold it up again, then boom, it's gonna pull it all the way back out for me. So then it also has this gesture right here too. So with this gesture, it allows for you to basically expand and pull out the camera as fast as you want to. So you see how it's zooming in on me? And so then you can use that same gesture to bring it back in. Cool feature there as well. And then it's also got this feature right here where if I put my hand up, it's going to put it into tracking for me. So if I put my hand up like this, now if I get up and move, the camera's gonna follow me. And so what makes this cool is now that I can use this for music production. So now I can come over here as I'm doing live streams and I can, tap my keyboards and I can play my stuff and stuff like that. And people will be able to see, exactly what it is that I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's a pretty fire feature because this is something that I've been wanting to have for a long time. I'll probably move the camera from the place where it's at right now because right now it's currently on basically on top of my computer screen. So it's sitting a little bit high. But boom, then as you see here, we get right back to where we were. So that's pretty fire. So let me go ahead and go through a few of the specs of this camera real quick for you guys. All right, guys, so the specs on the camera so the weight of this camera is 91 grams. The image sensor is a 1/2-inch CMOS sensor. The effective pixels is 48 megapixels. The aperture is a f1.8. The FOV is 79.4. The equivalent focal length is 26 millimeters. The minimum focus distance is 10 centimeters. The digital zoom is 1 to 4 times. And the focus type is AF/MF. And it also does offer HDR support. All right, guys, so some other things about this camera is that the camera does have an omnidirectional microphone built on deck. So right now I'm gonna go ahead and turn off the microphone that I'm using so that you guys can hear what the actual microphone on deck sounds like. So this is what the OBSBOT omnidirectional microphone sounds like. Probably not the microphone that you're going to be using when you are using this camera for shoot footage, but at least the audio option is there in case you don't have a microphone. The camera will shoot, it will shoot in 3 different ways. So it'll shoot horizontal, it'll shoot vertical, and then it will also shoot upside down shot for you. So the portrait, the landscape, and then it could actually shoot a top down or upside down shot for you. That's also pretty cool as well. The autofocus on this thing is absolutely amazing. So I'm not even gonna hold y'all. I'm not, telling y'all this to make jokes or to lie, but look how fast the autofocus on this camera is. All right, so now, look how quick that it transfers over. This is quicker than both my Sony cameras. We'll try something else real quick too, boom. And look, it's pretty detailed too. As you're looking at the web camera, you can see all the details and stuff inside this case for the Rode. So that's pretty solid too as well, in my personal opinion. Another thing that's fire is that this camera goes to sleep. So a lot of webcams, people aren't sure about security and things like that because the webcam is always on or it's always focused towards you and then it's plugged into a computer. Well, with the OBSBOT, it turns down. And so it turns the camera down so that the camera's not on anymore, and it puts it to sleep. And you can decide if you want to put it to sleep 2 minutes after the software ends or at a certain time of night or whenever it is that you want to. But you have that option in order to put the camera in sleep mode whenever you want. And then the camera does sit on a 2-axis gimbal. So that's pretty solid too as well. I'm pretty sure most of you guys have seen that before, but it does sit on a gimbal, which allows it to move around and rotate and everything like that. And I'll show you a little bit more of that right now. All right, guys, so bam, I pulled you into the OBSBOT center. So this is where you can control your camera and you can do a bunch of stuff in here. And you see it's got a whole bunch of stuff like this AI human tracking is pretty fire. So let's open this up real quick. You can do hand tracking. So where it's going to track everything on your hands, like everything that your hands do. So like, let's say you're teaching a class and you're pointing to different things, it's going to follow your hand versus you. So you can change it to that if you want to. That's pretty solid there as well. But let's talk about some of the cool things here. So you get different presets that you can set up. And with these presets, it just basically gets you different angles. So if I hit this preset right here, boom, this is another angle I have set up. You know what I'm saying? And then here's preset number 3. It's just another angle I have set up. It's just this part of the room. So in order to set up one of these presets, let's just delete this real quick. And then let's just change the way that it looks for just 1 second. So boom, we have this gimbal right here that we can move around and get things to look how we want it to look. So let's just go up for a second. All right, so boom, we'll just make that a preset. Obviously, I know that's not a preset we're gonna use, but as you see here, when I go back and forth, I can go back still through all my presets and get to where I needed to go. So that's a pretty solid feature right there in itself. And then as you guys can see with this gimbal can rotate around pretty far. So ignore the mess in my studio because it is kind of trash in here right now. But this is how far around it can go. So you see it can turn, it can turn, it can turn. You know what I'm saying? Boom, there's my Sony. So you see my other camera right there, you know? We'll go back to the preset number 1 real quick. And we can do that on the other side too. So like I can turn, you know what I'm saying, this camera this way. And as you see, it's gonna get all the stuff, like, you know, all the stuff over here. So, and so we got good shots of other things going on right here too as well, which is pretty fire. So we'll go ahead and go back to preset number 1 real quick. You have different views. So you can go wide, you can go medium, and you can go narrow. So currently it's on wide. And then boom, if I hit medium, it's gonna zoom in a little bit more. And if I hit narrow, it's gonna zoom in even more. So you know what I'm saying? That's a nice feature right there that you can mess with because it just, you know, you can quickly zoom in and you can quickly zoom out. So that's pretty fire. So up here in the AI human tracking, I don't know why I skipped this part, but you can go standard, you can go motion, and you can go normal tracking. You can also do things like where the tracking will just track you on certain parts. So let's go ahead and put our hand up real quick. And now we can make it track like our upper body. So like, let's say I'm moving around here, it's just going to start tracking me at basically my upper body, you know? And so boom, you see how it's just zoomed in on the upper body? Now, if I come back over here and I hit close up, then you're gonna see how it's going to zoom forward a little bit more. So boom, it's got a close up of my ugly mug. And then so with this, like you can see, you know, you can use all of these other different tracking forms in order to track however it is that you want. But you see how it's, you know, getting there. So it's finding me again. I moved kind of fast. You can change the speed in which it finds you. But let's go ahead and go back into preset 1 again. But that's also a very solid feature for this camera. So then you have other things that you can mess with here where you have control over like your image. So you have HDR right here. So you can turn HDR on. I normally leave HDR off, but you can turn it on, you can turn it off. Something that I didn't mention earlier is with this 1/2 sensor, it lets in a lot of light. So like, let's say I turn off all the lights in my room. All right, so this is what it looks like in my room right now. Now, granted, it's not pitch dark outside, but it is pretty dark outside. It's a cast over day. It's raining out here in Atlanta. I have a blanket over one of my windows to block any light from coming in. So it is really dark in this room, but you can't tell because, you know, it's doing its job. The sensor's doing its job. So let me go ahead and turn all the lights back on. All right, and then some more things you get control over is you get control over focus mode. So you can turn focus mode off and manually focus if you want to. You've got control over exposure, so you can do auto exposure, which is kind of what I have it at right here. I just left it alone. But you can turn this off and then you'll get control over your shutter speed. I did 1/60 because you're supposed to double up your shutter speed from your frames per second. And then your ISO right here. So, you know, you can mess with your ISO and you know what I'm saying? You can really kill it, obviously. but that helps in low light too. But we'll just take it back down to 1800. And then we'll go ahead and turn auto exposure back off, or turn it back on. You've got this anti-flicker features right here. You've got white balance that you can control. So with your white balance, you can do auto or you can do temperature. I just left it at 4900 Kelvin. But if I was to turn on the auto white, you know what I'm saying, balance, it looks like this. And if I turn it off, it looks like this. So give it 1 second for it to click in. I like it. I like the way it looks like right here a little bit better. You have control over your images too as well, your image stuff here too as well. So you'll see here, you have control over your hue, your contrast, your saturation, sharpness, all that other stuff. So out the box, I believe it looks like, I think everything's at 50. But all I did was turn up the contrast just a little bit. You know, you can turn all this stuff up, make yourself look crazy if you want to. You know what I'm saying? Contrast is up a lot there. Boom. So we'll leave it like that. But we got saturation we can add on. So, you know, we can look all crazy if you want. Obviously, we're probably not going to do that. But, you know, you got all kinds of controls. You got sharpness controls. You got hue controls. You know, some pretty good controls there. And over here in this more category, so you see here, this is where you can set up like your auto sleep. So mine sleeps every 2 minutes after I'm done using it. You can also do something where you can set up a sleep background. So like, let's say you're on stream and in the middle of your stream, you go somewhere or you do something, you have to go poop or something, and your camera goes to sleep for a little bit. It'll give them a background so that they can see in the background instead of just a black picture. So that's dope. Again, here is like, you can lock in on the target. So you can lock in, like that's with the hand gestures. So holding that one hand up to make it move. You know what I'm saying? The L sign for the zoom, and then the dynamic zoom right here. All right, guys, and then the last thing I want to talk about is you click this right here, and you come over here, they've got some beauty features. So these are like little filters that you can add. You know, I'm probably not going to be using too many filters, but you know, you can click on these, and then boom, it's going to give you some filters and stuff. It is kind of going to make my computer lag a little bit because it adds a little bit more onto the CPU. Because keep in mind, I'm recording this, and then I'm screen recording, and then I'm recording 4K footage into my camera too. So when I add like these filters on there, it's gonna kind of slow it down for a little bit because my computer is using so much resources to make this video. But you got retouch over here. So like you can do like different filters, like, you know what I'm saying? Tone, smooth, whatever it is. But I'm not gonna go into all these just for the simple fact that my computer is doing a lot right now and it just can't handle it. So we'll just turn those off. And so then you see there, after I turn those off, it just got itself right back into place. So those are my thoughts on Tiny 2 Lite by OBSBOT. Well, I think this camera's fire. I'm definitely gonna be using it. You guys are gonna see it in multiple live streams and stuff like that, because it just gives me an opportunity to now start playing instruments and doing some more stuff in order to make the live streams a little more lit for y'all. Very solid stream camera, whether you need it for meetings at work, whether you wanna use it to start streaming, whether you want to use it to start recording a little bit of content. It's only $150. And I'm just being honest with you guys. I kind of want to do videos like this because I know all the money that I've spent over the years on cameras and on different things. And if I was to do it all over again, I don't know if I buy this Sony, you know what I'm saying, a6400 right away. Because it was like, you know, $900 camera. And then I had to get like a $400 lens for the camera. So that was $1,300 I spent on a camera right when I monetized. So right when I hit 1,000 subscribers. So if I could have used something like this, I probably would have waited off on a camera, and I might have got a better camera. I might have saved a little bit more money and got a little better of a camera, like maybe like a full frame camera or something like that. But this looks so much better than the webcam I started on. It looks so much better than my Max webcam. It looks so much better than most other webcams. So that's what I got for you guys today. Make sure if you guys do like this content though, you drop a whole elbow on that like button. Hit subscribe and that notification bell so every time we bring you guys a new video, you can be the first to see. I appreciate you guys' time as always, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.
Some, hit the key.